This is lesson 2 in our document features section, and we're going to be dealing with headers and footers. By the end of this section, you'll be able to insert and edit headers and footers in your documents. So, header and footer, the name pretty much explains what they are. The header goes at the top, the footer at the bottom. I have a few ways to get to them. On the Insert tab, we have a header and footer option, and I can pick a header or footer to use. I can also double click at the top of the page or double click at the bottom to access the header or the footer. If I'm in the footer, I can click on my new contextual tab, Header and Footer Tools Design, on the ribbon. I can go to the header and footer quickly by using the navigation buttons. I can have 3 different types of headers in my document and 3 different types of footers. So I can have a header and footer for my first page and then a different one for even and odd pages, or I can just have one uniform header for my entire document. So in the MLA format, we type, if we were going to use that for this document, on each page we have our name, last name, and then we have the page number. So notice Crompton 1. If we look at page 2, Crompton 2, and we look at page 3, Crompton 3. Now previous versions of MLA said that we do not put a name and page number on page 1. So if I click different first page, notice my header now changes to first page header, the name disappears, and recedes down to page 2 and 3. So I could type something different on the first page. If I now check different even and odd pages, Crompton 1 is on page 1, our odd page header. Our even page header is blank because we didn't define it. And back on page 3 we have our original header because page 3 is an odd page. If I turn them both on, my original header will only appear on page 3, the first odd non-first page in the document. Turn both of these back off to get our header on all 3 pages. Now the footer works the same way. If I turn on different first page, notice the first page header and the first page footer. So if I have a first page header, I will also have a first page footer. I can't have just a first page header and then a uniform footer throughout. Header and footer go together. Turn that off. Now if I want to close my header and footer and return to my document, I can click the close button here, or I can double click in my document. Whatever text is not selected is grayed out. So our header is here, our text is grayed out, double click, our header is grayed out, our text is visible. Notice when we're not in the header, our header and footer tools contextual menu disappears. So that's the header. Let's talk about the footer. Operates exactly the same way with the exact same options. Now we can insert various things in the header and footer. We can put the date and time, some document info, some quick parts like a document property, some auto text or a field. We can even put a picture. Now on the certification exam, you might be asked to create a header or footer, or you might be asked to edit an existing one. If you're asked to create one, you will be told which style to use here by name. So if we were to use the blank 3 column for example, here's our blank 3 column header. Now notice if I have a header and insert a new one, my previous header is overwritten as I can only have one header or footer per document without these options selected. Now if I were to undo this, return to what we have, click different first page, come back to the top and insert a 3 column header. Now that I have a different first page, my original header remains intact and I have 2 different headers, one for my first page and one for the rest of my document. However, if I were to type something here, we'll say Crompton, we'll put the date up here, May 24th. Over here we'll just put hi just to be simple. Now if I were to come here and then insert a blank header, notice my header is now overwritten because I selected another header while I already had a header selected on the first page. My other two headers, since they're not on the first page, are unchanged by my edit that I just made. So if I undo this, I will return back to my 3-column header, which only appears on page 1. My original header is intact on page 2 and 3. Now, it would probably make more sense to put this in the footer. So let's get rid of my header. I can simply select it, backspace, close. My header has been removed from page 1, but is still intact on page 2 and 3. In the footer, we will do simply center, design, date and time. We have options on how we want to do the date and time. We'll do this. If we update automatically, our date will change every day, so whenever the document is open, the current date will be displayed at the bottom of our document. Now this is header, and this is headers and footers in a nutshell. Not much more to say here. Just practice on adding the various options. It might benefit you to know what a couple of these are, so when you see them by name, if you see them by name on the certification exam, you kind of know where to find them. I will include this document with the header and footer in the supplementary materials. And that will conclude the lesson on headers and footers.